the gun space, while companies tended to do a lot of, say, posturing and acting tough and, we're the gun industry and blah, 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 at the end of the day, none of them are really all that outspoken. And that's because the majority of their revenue is coming from military and law enforcement and government contracts. And so they're old companies that have been around forever. They have HR departments, they have shareholders, all these things. And so they're very limited on what they can say. They don't want the blowback. They don't want to get contracts canceled. So I saw an opportunity for a company that doesn't have any of those things, for better or for worse, where we're a very small niche within a niche. And so let's try to build that out as best we can. And what I keep hearing from everybody in all of the shooting communities that I'm involved in, competitive shooting, training and what have you, they're all saying, man, I really wish Glock would wake up one day and just tell the government to fuck off. And it's like, well, they're never going to do that. So maybe I can do that. And again, I'm 39. I'm younger relative to most of the other business owners in this space, with much larger, more well-established companies. So I just said, I like to talk trash. Like I said, been in combat sports forever. I'm not afraid. I've literally been beat up. You can go on the internet and see a video of me like getting beat up if you want. But there's plenty of videos of me beating up other people as well. So I'm just generally not really afraid of what people think about me, or I'm not afraid of getting beat up. So, I can pretty much say whatever I want, within reason, of course, and get away with it. So let's try to do that and see what people like. And sure enough, people loved it. And so we made some changes to the way we were packaging our product. And that's how the memes came about. We have an automatic bag printer, and we were playing around with it one day, and we found that there was a big open space that we could print, pretty much whatever we wanted. And so we thought, okay, let's try to put some funny messages in there. And then we figured out how to print basic photos and pictures. And so then it's off to the races. And you say, all right, well, aside from like getting literally banned on the internet for saying something completely atrocious, like how can we push that edge about as far as we can go? And you just know that you can print something even really non-controversial. You can criticize a politician like everybody in America should be doing all the time. But they just really get caught up on the idea that criticism is printed on a bag of ammo. To me, I just say, well, that's your problem. Sorry, if I was in the nuts and bolts industry and it was a bag of nuts and bolts, I would be printing the same exact thing on there, and maybe you wouldn't have a problem with that. But the fact that it's printed on a bag of ammo, that's your problem. If you don't like it, it's my company. If you think it's a stupid idea and you think it's going to tank the company, then just let me die and see what happens. But they know that that's not what's going to happen. And so we got investigated by the Michigan Campaign Finance Board because they claimed that we supported the recall of a particular politician around this area. And they were trying to claim that us printing any messages regarding the recall effort was basically a campaign finance violation, because they were convinced that we were being paid to do it, or this and that. And so, they will do anything that they can. Meanwhile, it's like how much fraud and corruption is happening in campaign finance? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like there's just millions of dollars disappear every year for these, Soros money going to like some local DA. And it's like, Jesus Christ, we printed a couple hundred bags with recall so-and-so on it. And like, that's what's getting investigated. Like, get the fuck out of here. But that's America. The larger you break the law, the more likely you are to get away with it, I think is the unfortunate truth of it. Pro government. I mean, I'm not really sure why you would be. I just show me one area where government is making a difference in a tangible way that couldn't be done by private industry, or couldn't be being done 100% more efficient than what it's being done, even if they are making progress on something. So yeah, those people, I think, like, non-playable characters. That's basically the only way to describe them. That's also a funny thing that happens in the gun space. You have people who are, well, don't call an AR-15 an assault weapon. don't call it a machine gun, don't call it a weapon of war because you're letting the other side win. And it's like, well, it is a fucking weapon. That's why I have one, in case I need to go to war. So that's evolved into now we have the 3D printing community. And so that's the, code is free speech. And that was it was great for me. A couple of years ago, I went to the Guns and Bitcoin conference in Miami, got to meet the guys at Samurai Wallet and Ronin, and that was really kind of what made it all come together in my head is, we have all these, ITAR is the law that restricts the proliferation of munitions technology. And so, the State Department has been trying to go after the 3D printing industry, saying, you can't put these files on the internet because theoretically some guy in China or Afghanistan or some country that's on the non-proliferation list could download that file, and now you've committed an ITAR violation. And so going back to Bitcoin and, as you said, ciphers and sort of like internet protocol security, the harder it is for them to crack something, the more you can say whatever the fuck you want and lock it up somewhere and have it be completely unreadable. And the government does really see that the same way that they would view you owning a grenade or some kind of explosive device. That's the way that they want people to view it. And that's the way that I think that they view Bitcoin is, anything that can get around the government's ability to restrict what you can do or say, they view as essentially a weapon. And so, ciphers and code is the same thing as an AR. That's what I tell people to think about Bitcoin as a digital AR-15, right? So, like at the end of the day, the government, you can say, you got to take this gun from my cold dead hands. Okay. So then what are your choices? You can go bury it in the yard, or you can have them come literally kill you and take your AR-15 from your cold dead hands, but then you're dead and they have your AR-15. But in the world of Bitcoin, as long as you can remember 12 words in your head, they can literally beat you to death and they will never get your Bitcoin. And if you are headstrong enough to be able to resist that and say, you know what, I'm going to take this Bitcoin to my grave, fuck you guys. Even if you kill me, you're not going to get it from me. So it is what it is. To me, that's beautiful. I wish I had a digital AR-15 up in the clouds or something, locked away in cold storage that I could just conjure up by typing 12 words into a keyboard and having my AR-15 appear in front of me. That's the way that I see Bitcoin, and that's what they fear the most. Objects in the physical world can be confiscated, they can be broken, they can be melted down, but things in the digital world, they can't do that with, and that's what I think the government fears probably more than anything.
How have we gone this far off the rails where people are out there just clamoring for government and people to run their lives? I mean, it's so ass backward. If you want the answer to that question right there and you like that spicy clip, check it out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. But if you want the full interview in its entirety, all the spicy clips put together, and you're not going to want to miss it, believe me, then check that out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. Do it.